How you going, guys? Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering. So today we're going to get started on the upgrades for our kitchen and walker facing borer. If you haven't seen the video on the unloading and the tour of the kitchen and walker, we'll put a link in the description below. The first thing I need to do, I need to start by building the riser block so we can lift up the column. So the reason I'm going to be raising the column on the kitchen and walker is I wanted to have a far bigger capacity for larger jobs. What I've already done, I've already taken all the measurements on what I would like it to look like when it is finished. We've done the drawings for those, we've sent them away to our local metal supplier. They have pre-cut all the parts and drilled all the holes. So now I've got a pallet of components that I can now put together. All the parts we've had cut, they are all a 350 grade 20mm plate. Rather than having different size plates within the riser block, it was cheaper and faster for me to just get the whole thing processed out of 20mm. We also have some 55 by 25mm hollow bar, which will be used as the corner supports where the bolts go through to pull the column back down onto the base. Once all the parts have been put together and welded out, it's going to raise the column by 300mm, which will give us a lot more capacity for larger jobs. So before I can put the riser block together, I need to machine up the hollow bars. So I've got 8 pieces of hollow bar. They are offcuts from my metal supplier. I only needed 6, but they did me a deal on all 8. So we'll use 6 for the riser block and we'll have 2 in stock. It's just handy material to have around. So the material is 20mm longer than it needs to be, but that's all right. I'm just going to part that 20mm off, true up both ends, and then I'll just have to repeat the process. So that's 1 down, 5 to go. Righto, so now that that's done, we can start assembling the riser block. Righto guys, so we've got our base plate set up on the trestles. Pretty much what this is now is a jigsaw puzzle. So all I need to do now is grind everything up, start positioning things where they belong, and start tacking things together. The base plate we got, as well as the top plate, they're both identical. We have 6 pre-drilled holes, which will be for the 1-inch bolts. Our hollow bars we've already machined will go directly over the top of those holes, and there will also be support plates on the inside of the riser block, which I will be able to weld in place through the slots that are cut in the top and bottom plate. A solid piece of material 300mm thick would be astronomically expensive. Without this being a completely solid piece, we can put enough bracing on the inside and enough support in the riser block so it won't move when it's attached to the machine. Pretty much now, we just got to start putting this thing together. Oh. Righto, so I've got all of the hollow bar tacked in place where they're going to live. I have the center support plates also tacked. The center supports are pretty important where they go because that will dictate where a lot of the other plates are going to finish up and stop. Now that we've got all that tacked in place, we can finish assembling the rest of the riser block. Righto guys, so I've got all the support plates tacked in position. I'm really happy with how things are sort of working out at the moment. I'm not going to go and put any flat bar in the front plate because I'm not achieving anything by doing it except for looks. What I need to do now, I need to weld up the inside of the support braces that run through the riser block. They're going to be fully welded in place to stop any racking side to side. I'm only going to stitch weld everything else inside. So down here, around the bottom, around the corners, I'm going to stitch them. I don't want to put too much heat in this until I get the top plate on it, because if I put too much heat in there and everything shrinks, it'll pull it out of shape and then the bolt holes won't line up and it'll just become a problem. Once we get the top plate on, we can fully weld it from the outside as well as come down through the slots that are cut in the top plate to pick up on these center supports, and then we'll flip it and repeat the process. And the wire I'm going to be using, it is the bronze coated ER70S6. It's just your standard general purpose wire. I will be using a 90-10 gas mix behind that in order to get more of a spray transfer to eliminate a little bit of spatter. I don't need to use anything serious like dual shield. It is only 350 grade material. I'm not going to really achieve anything. So we're just going to weld it out with this. Righto guys, so I've got the top plate tacked on now. Everything has gone pretty well, although we did have a bit of pulling of what I'd welded on the inside, so things have slightly pulled in a little bit, but that's no big deal because the holes are actually 27 mil, so there is a bit of room there for our 1-inch bolts. Worst case scenario, I need to run a 27 mil drill back down through the holes just to clear them out. That's if they pull out of shape any further, but at the moment a bolt fits in each hole. So now that that's all done, it's in a really nice position to weld everything down hand. So I'll go through, I'll weld the base completely in, I'll then weld the slots in the top. Once I get all that done, I can then turn it over, weld everything down hand again, and I'll just keep positioning it to make it as comfortable as possible to complete the welding.
This isn't for you,
No,
Holmes.
this isn't for homie. Oh, it's a knife. Hey.
Ooh. Very nice.
Very cool. Got another knife to add to the collection, so big thanks to Perry from the USA. Very nice. Righto guys, so all the welding is now complete. It's been cooling down overnight. If anyone's wondering, there's about 3 hours work in what I've done so far. That's from when I started machining the hollow bars to when I finished the welding, and about half a roll of wire. So what I need to do next, I need to mill the top and the bottom surfaces perfectly true to keep the accuracy and as much surface area for when I clamp the column back down onto the base of the kitchen and walker. So it's a little bit too big, awkward and heavy to put in my Bridgeport style mill. So I'm going to do this in the Jig Borer. So that's all set up in the machine now. Everything's clamped down nice and tight. Unfortunately, when I bought the Jig Borer, I didn't get a great deal of tooling for doing facing cuts. But after our YouTube video on the Jig Borer, I asked if anyone knew of any tooling floating around or knew of anyone that had worked a machine before. So we had a lot of people reach out and we were able to acquire a fair bit of tooling and a few other bits and pieces that I'm really happy I got my hands on. And we will share that in a future video. So the piece of tooling I'm going to be using today is actually from a Hydroptic 6A. So that's the next model up from this machine. All the tooling still does match the spindles on the Hydroptic number 6. So what we have here is a 150mm or a 6-inch 6 cartridge facing cutter. So I don't believe this is actually a SIP part itself. It looks to be around the same sort of era. It does have the same spindle nose and the same Morse taper, but it doesn't have the telltale SIP engraved in the side of it. But nevertheless, it's going to fit the machine and it's going to work really well, I hope. So now we've got our cutter installed into the spindle. I've also set the RPM to 130 RPM, which is sort of roughly where I want to start this. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to hand feed the table in underneath the cutter. We'll touch off on the job, we'll set our height, and then we will start the milling process. Right, so pretty happy with how that turned out. That's the first time we've ever used that face cutter in this machine. So with a bit of dialing in, you could achieve really, really good results. The surface finish doesn't look great, but it is actually flat and quite smooth. There's no big ridges or anything there, so I'm really happy with that. So it'll be interesting when I flip it over. I might increase the RPM up to 165. I'll get some coolant in a spray bottle and I will see what I can achieve on the next side. Righto guys, so that's the other side milled. It actually went really well. I didn't notice a great big difference between going from 130 RPM out to 165. I did notice one of the cartridges has a dull edge on it, so that's what's leaving these swirls in it. But the surface finish is still quite good, so I'm not really concerned about that. There was one little spot up here on the back side of the riser block that it actually missed, but that's no big deal. That's not going to affect anything. With a little bit more fine tuning, we could probably achieve a lot better surface finish, but at this stage, I'm really happy with the results. Righto guys, so the riser block is now complete. It went together really well. We've done the milling on it so it's nice and true. So the next thing I need to do, I need to fit the riser block to the kitchen and walker, but before I can do that, I need to lift up the column and make the longer bolts to suit our riser block. So stay tuned for part 2. Thanks for watching. My hat on straight, I didn't ask.
It is. Doesn't trust me.
Seriously, because hat on straight.
Are you okay?
Well, I safety from my head. Right. So the first thing I had to do, oh wait, how'd you say that again? Righto. So the first, oh wait, how are we starting that? How do you start that? Right. So the material I'm going to be using, once this is fully, they will then support. So once the riser block is 100% completed, it's going to rise the column on the machine by 300 mil.
I think it should be raise the column.
Okay, right.
Even though it's a riser.
Right, ready?
Yep.
Right, so once all the parts have been put together and welded out, it's going to rise. I need to lift up the column and I need to make bolts to... What?
I'm just letting you do it.
Right. So the next thing I need... Oh, wait. Yeah. So the next thing we need to... I'll leave. Brand new fucking tip.
You should put a white coat on.
I don't have a white coat.
Is that my tea towel?
No, this is my tea towel. This is workshop tea towel. This was over at the sink.
Oh, it was almost there.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Right. Fuck up. Maybe some... Oh, fuck off. Train and rain.
So one of...
Train? Helicopter.
Oh.
Oh, homeless is leaving.
Bye, homeless. Come on, go in there.